Hi everyone, I'm trust we're doing well. Today we'll just continue from where we stopped last week. So I'm just showing some assignments submissions that I've received. This is amazing. I mean, going by what we did last week in terms of our demos, yeah, this was what we did, and I asked that we should make a resume. And of course, this is one submission. I'll show another one shortly. Beautiful submissions. I mean, this is nice. And I see that the image was also imported. Means that you already learned how to get the image, and she's also done one thing. She has done space between that is kept the image and the CV on a single row. That's nice. So she's done unordered listings, yeah, and then the lines as well. Right, good, great job, well done everyone. For everyone who have submitted anyways, not everyone like everyone. For everyone who did and submitted, beautiful work. Right, so let's proceed. So today we'll just pick it up from where we were. So we've looked at the attributes using the style directly within the attribute as an inline CSS, and also we used the internal CSS, the one which we would style within the edge section, and then we used the external one. So let's see what we want to do now, right? So if you look at this, the structure of this page here, right, it gives you an idea of, like I said, you need to know what you want to build from the beginning. So if we were to make a drawing, right, or a sketch, because basically what you will get from the designer, like I mentioned, what you will get from the designer is this, right? So if peradventure you are the one to create the website yourself, right? What you should be considering is, oh, you should picture this in your head. This is my header. This is my hero section. This is kind of like, we call it hero section. That's the common name. However, it can be your slides. It can be your company image. It can be introduction about the company and stuff like that. And then if you follow this pattern, this is just a slide like an horizontal slide, and then of course the wireframe is, these are buttons across the page, and of course that is what this person has translated into this, and this is the design you will always get. So this picture already lives in your mind. So when this picture lives in your mind, the way to design this comes immediately as you are cited, as you're looking at this page now, right? Over time, I know it will take practice, but immediately you cite it in your head, you can already picture how you are going to build it. How? Let's demystify it. So if we're going to build this page now, we need header, right? We need this hero section, right? We need this body section. And then, of course, I know this is still elongated, but let's call this our footer section, right? So let's just leave it at the one we can see on screen. So if these are all the elements we need, what we'll then be doing is, let's go back to our screen. So as usual, I'll save this. I'll save this as another file, new file, index dot index cv template or cv, no, that's the css1 class. So this other one will become css2 class. Okay, css1, let's paste it there so that we can keep using that index.html, right? Let's save this as let's save this also as css1. Let's create it, styles dot css, so we'll call it styles2. The reason why I'm naming that, so that we recognize CSS1 and CSS2 together. So no, let me rename it as CSS1 so that it doesn't, because there's already an index 2 there, so we don't confuse it. Right. So let's rename this as HTML1 because that was the first one we did. Index 1, yes. Index HTML1, yes. So that was the first one we worked with. So now back to our raw files. Right, let's close all these ones that we don't need. These are the two files we'll still be using, so I'll clear this right? I'll clear this. No, let me not clear the whole thing. Let's just do this. Or let's clear it so that we all learn again. Right. So now, what happens here? Like I said, if you come back to this page, look at this. This should be the exact picture in your head. And for each of these elements, there's a div element, right? So this is div 1, right? Div 2, right? Div 3, and this is a button. However, if you look here, we can still call this another div. So it will be one div, or first div, second div, third div, fourth div, right? So these four divs, they would also live in a parent div. Do you get? So this first div now will be the nav, this will be the hero section, this will be the body section, and this will be the footer section. We'll call it footer section as it is right now. Let's not struggle too much. So let's do it. So we'll come back here and do doc type HTML, close it. Next HTML, close the HTML back. Next within the HTML is what? Edge, right? Close the edge. Next within the edge is what? Title. There are other things we can put like viewpoint and all those things, but not now. Let's just do title. Title is what could we give the name of that site? Pasana. Is it Pasana or Dasana? I think it's P. Let's call it Pasana. Class CSS class 2. CSS class 2. Let's close the title. So let's save that. That should be the name of that template now. Where is it? So let's go back here. Is that it? Let's refresh. Yeah, Pasana, that's it now. Right, okay. So first thing first, like I said, you structure it this way. Don't just jump. When you become very experienced with it, you can do it anyhow you like it. But this way, let's follow it just this way. So we've done it this way. We've done title. You can add meta tags if you want, but that's not what we're after right now. We're just after setting up the whole page. So we'll do body, right? Body is where every other thing would be, right? Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So now body. So now, like I said, there are four elements, right? So we'll do div. In my head, I'm calling this main div the parent div, right? Excuse me. I'm calling this main div the parent div. I do another div and I call it another div. This will change to nav anyways. We'll change that to nav at some point. Then the next div, like we've done parent, we're supposed to have four, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So let's just copy and paste so that we don't waste time. Right? So now, no, let's take this outside. Yes, we can take it outside. So let's take it outside. Reason why we're taking it outside is because we want to call it nav, right? Nav. So we call that nav, right? And we call this div. So means that this section, we have separated this section from this remaining section, which will now be 1, 2, 3, right? So this will be our footer. Again, we can change this and bring it out and say it is footer, right? So we can do this and come back here and say footer, right? So I'm just showing you how to structure it in your mind, right? Means that we now have how many elements left? 1, 2, hero section, and the content section, footer and header stays outside. Is that okay? So now let's try it out. Let's begin to put content inside of it. So First thing is, let's call that an H3. I'm using H3 because it doesn't look so big as text as a text. So cover it H3 and call it persona. You can write it as capital letter directly, or you can change it to whatever you want later. So that's persona. And then what's the next statement they put on there? Let's see if we can zoom that in. Can we zoom that in? Oh, thank God we've zoomed it in. If we didn't, we wouldn't know. We would think it's just a text. But no, it's not just text. It's actually the menu. Right. So this is the menu we are trying to emulate. So for that, don't forget how we did the last one. I'll put this in another div. Sorry, I need to disable the capital letter. I'll close this div again and then do href element. So I'll do anchor href, close the anchor tag, and then we call each one. So they've called it how many? About us, how it works, shop now, contact. About us, how it works, shop now, contact. Can you see? So this stays here this way. Next is, we already have this now. Next we'll be looking at this content, the hero section. Or do you want us to finish that header? Okay, let's try to finish the header instead. So let's do nav class. So let's give it the class header, main header. So if I call this main header, let's see what it does. So come back to our style. We have not done anything on body. It's a named class, so you have to put a dot. So say width would be 100%, right? And then justify content should be center. Let's align our center. Align items center. Okay. Why is it doing this? Justify content align item content. Why is it not responding to that again? And then we go again with this center or center thing. Justify. Okay. I will use this. Let's use justify. Oh, I see. There's a div. There's a div. It won't move. Okay, there's a div in here. Oh, it should still move. You should move the div into the center. Yeah. Main header, center. It's right there. Align content. Center. Amazing. I'll name this nav because I'll say display now. I'm going to test it now to be sure why it's not responding. Oh, okay. That means it's not it. It's not picking up the class. If I do main header. Oh, sorry. We need to import it. We haven't imported it, so you do link relationship style sheet. That's how to import this style sheet, and then you do href. That's the URL. Href double quotes. Then do styles.css. So we're using this styles.css. Then close that. You don't need to write it twice. So let's see what it does. Yeah, so it's hiding it now. So let's align content center. Let's see whether that applies. Okay, should we justify back? So if you just So all items are now centered. Then we come back to this one. No, I don't want to. I don't want to add styling yet. Let's just do bit of styling instead. We'll come back to all those things. So let's add this image, add the section. So because we're thinking of structure first, not the beautification. So the first structure then is image. We've got an image on the background, and this div has a button on top. It also has this ultimate bottle thing on top of it as well. So what do? We write those three elements: this image, this text, and this button. So let's come back here and do it. So this is the section that belongs to that. So let me comment on top so that you can see comment hero section, and then for this one text content, and then this one we call this one header content. Right. So we've seen that now, and then of course footer section. I should call these sections, not content. Header section. Yeah. So we've done that. Now this is where we're going to put the hero section. So we need to do three things: import an image. To import an image, you use source src equals to double quote, close the image. We'll find the URL for an image. What does that image look like? I can't find this image itself. Let's just look for a red orange. Let's look for a red orange picture. Red orange hot image. Let's see whether we find, yeah, something like this. So let's go to all images and find one that is looking at us nicely. That goes or that looks close to it. Something we can work with. Something nice I can sit on our background and will look nice. This will not be bad. Yeah, this won't be bad. Let's copy image address. Don't forget that's how to copy the image. Copy the image address. So source, bring it in. The image will come in so big because that image resolution is so big, right? I already knew it. So if you look at the image here, the size is about 6,000 by 4,000. So that's quite a large image. Maybe we should change it. We can resize it though, but I don't want us to start doing all those stress right now. We can resize it. Let's look for one that is not too large. That will still work for us. So copy this one instead. Although this looks half, should we find another one? Yes, this one is better. Copy image address and then undo this and then paste the new address. This should be fine now. Yeah, this is better. So now we're doing everything one after the other. So that's the image. And then the next thing is there's a button and there's a text. So it says else in a bottle delivered to your door. So we write that text. Let's call that a normal paragraph and say what? Else in a bottle dot delivered to your door. If you can follow, it's fine to follow, but however, just listen to the thought process behind it because that's the main teaching. Is the thought process behind some of these things. So that's it. This is delivered to your door, and that's the text on top of it, right? And the next thing you are doing is you are putting a button. So you can start buttons in different ways. So at this point, I will not be following the normal button element. I will just write an anchor tag and call it a button, right? And just we'll style it later. So we'll say A is what href. Let's just leave that empty for now. Open it and close it and call it what start now. This is start now. Yeah, it says start now. So start now. We close that. A. Right. And you have those three elements. Can you see that's also recognized as a button? But one thing you should know is these are supposed to overlay each other, right? Means that this, sorry, I don't want to select it. I don't, yeah, okay. So this is supposed to be on top of this, which we would achieve. Do you want us to go to the other section? Okay, let's just type every other section and see whether we can quickly do the other before we go. And then continue. What is persona? Then lorem ipsum text. So the text content, this is it. So we'll do another header now. So let's call this one H. Let's use H3 as well because it looks almost like the same size. Is persona, right? Close the header H3. That's the thought process behind it. Do you get? the major thing we're looking at now is the thought process. We will come to styling it exactly as it is, but now we're looking at the thought process of how to structure the whole thing before you then start adding styling. So this is the structure, this is the head. We are here now, we'll write this one. So if you look at this one now, there are three types of text. No, I think, is this one the same size? I think, okay, let's call it two style. There's one that is this big, and there's another one that's a little bit smaller, and then the header, which we have written already. So what we'll just do is we'll do two paragraphs instead, right? You can do it three paragraphs, you can do it two paragraphs, but let's do two paragraphs. We'll break the other one up. No, let's do three paragraphs. So what does the other one say? It says persona is a way of living, blah 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 blah. We don't want to write all those stories. I'll just duplicate this so that we just want to represent that element. It's not that we need all their text, right? So I'll cut this one off here, close that paragraph, right? And then replicate these two paragraphs again, but this one is a bit longer, right? So what do? I just duplicate this. That's the second paragraph, and then the third paragraph. They look similar, so you'll see that we have the three of them now. We have the header 1, 2, 3, right? And then another start now button. Let's just carry this one and bring it here. But this time you see that the buttons are two different colors. Oh, okay, it's the same color, so we're fine. Means that we can use the same one. So within the div, so you stay within the div, so bring it back into here and stay within the div. If you follow my indentation, you can already understand how the whole project has gone. Right, that start now. And then we go into the footer section. The footer section is quite straightforward. It's just for us to, let's just call it powered. Let's put a paragraph text in and say class 2025. Right. So that is your structure from beginning to the end done. The structure for this project, that is it from beginning to the end. It is done. Right. Now that it is done, you then come. This you could do it all at once, or you could do it as we have done it. You structure your HTML first and then start adding the style. So now let's come back to the styling. So I think the first thing to look at is your font is different from what we are seeing right now. So the font is quite different. So let's go back to our style and say you go back to style. So for you to do a global, they call it global state, a global font style, you call body, or you can do HTML. You can do HTML. Let's do HTML. Don't forget, when it is an existing element or a default element, you don't put a dot. Don't forget that condition. That's why HTML is not carrying a dot. So now we'll say font type, or font family, sorry. Font family. Let's look for maybe trebuchet or something. That might probably be. Let's see. I might not get the spelling right in my head, but let's see whether that applies. It doesn't change. Let me find it. Don't worry, I'll find the trebuchet font for us to use. 2 seconds. I'm just going to look for that full font name so that we don't stress ourselves thinking about one thing that's not lost. Right, so style, yeah. So I'm just bringing that font family in so that we don't stress about. Oh, I see why. Let's see. If we close that, does it apply? No, it doesn't. That's not correct. So that's the family. Yeah. So now we have that font. So let's come back here. So the first thing is this persona. It's a green color. Might be a logo. We cannot achieve this with a text. We might be able to, but it will be tricky. So this might be a logo directly, but we will just give it a green color and space it properly. So how do we then start doing that? So we'll say, can I split this down? Let me see. Can I split it down? Okay, yeah, good. Right. So let's close this one. We don't need this side. Yes. So you see the style on this side. You see the app on this side. So let's come to HTML or CSS here, and then let's style from here. Let's reduce this a bit. Yes. So Ctrl Z to make that, no, sorry, alternate Z. Yes. Alternate Z is just to justify it to the side. Alternate Z. Okay. Right. So now we have persona here, and then we need to space. So if you see this is well spaced out. So we'll come back now and start doing that. So we'll say we'll give it the class, call it class logo text, right? So if you call it class logo text, you come here and say dot logo text, and then color. Let me show you how to pick a color. So because we don't know this color in our head, you can get it by just right clicking on your browser. If you are copying a page anyways, or a design, right click on your browser, click on inspect, right? Why is my inspect opening as an external? Wait, sorry, my inspect is opening as an external stuff. I'm not sure why that is happening. Sorry, 2 seconds. I just need to be sure why that is happening. My inspect has actually opened, but it's not docked with my browser. Well, I'm sure you will see it when you open it, but I'm not sure why it's not docked with my browser because it's supposed to be docked with my browser. I can't remember doing this or asking it to split it out, but I don't. Sorry, it doesn't look like it's going to respond to me. Those. Why is it not docked with my browser? Okay, let's leave that. If you open your inspect anyways, you'll see what I'm seeing currently on my browser or my own. It's just opening another place. That's the one that I'm having right now. Yeah. So once you open press Control I or right click to inspect, you will find an inspect element showing all the code on your page. We will need to do one thing to come and select this color to see how it looks like. So just look for an element that is showing color at the moment. So just pick an element that has color on it at the moment and do one thing. Click on that element and then pick up the eyedropper tool. You'll see, can you see this thing you're seeing on my screen here? This eyedropper tool, just select the image color or click on the image color and get the X value, the hexadecimal value, definitely. That's what I mean. Um, I don't want RGB, I want X value. I'm not sure why I can't see X value as well. Weird things are happening on my computer. 2 seconds, please. I'm just going to do one thing. I'll come back here and give it a color green. So I'll use that to green. Oh, maybe green yellow, so that we don't stress ourselves. That doesn't look like it. Close, but it's too much. So we can adjust from here. Let's not waste time. Can adjust from here. All right. No, let's make it darker. That's too okay. It's better now. This is better. Um, this can be hexadecimal code. Yeah. So I prefer the X one. So if you just double click, you see the X value or hexadecimal value. So that's the next thing. Let's go to the next one. This one we have the um did you write that in capital letter? Okay. So the links now we're going to split out the links and also make them capital letter. So come here and say nav link. So for all these ones, you give it a class, give it class nav link. So nav link, it's a single item. So copy, let's just copy this and paste it for all the links. All the links, copy and paste for all the links. My time is run out, but if I do this, I'll proceed to my next level. So dot nav links, don't forget it is we are the ones naming it, so you put a dot. If it is default HTML, don't put a dot. Nav links, first thing to do, color is gray. Let's say color gray. Please watch the spelling of color here. This is US standard, so they don't put U. So color is gray, so color is there. Um, Let me see if we do list style. We need to remove the underline, that's why. None. Let me see whether it will remove it or we just need to re-specify. Okay, it won't answer us with this. Anyway, so we have to specify that A with class nav links. Remove that list style. Sorry, not list style, text decoration. List style is for list. So you probably will work in the first instance as well, none. So you change that to none. Let's see if that applies. It should definitely. Is there something missing somewhere? Something seems to be missing somewhere. It's not even activated. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's done now. So we'll remove this one back. We want to transform that text, so you do text transform. What are we doing? The design is capital letter, that's why we're doing that. So the person might just have typed it all in as small letters, so just change it to uppercase. So we'll do uppercase. Right, so if you do uppercase now, that will change. Beautiful. Right, and then let's see the font size. It's a bit small, so let's give font size 12. Let's say 12 pixels. Yeah, yeah, that's okay. Let's give some padding left and right. Let's see. So using padding will allow us, if you use margin, the clicking will be too specific. So let's do padding left, right. So let's do 20 px left. Let's see if that applies first. Right, so that applies. So if that's applying, next thing we'll do is padding right, so that to stay centered. Let's see, is that not going to be too much? Let's see. Looks like it's too much. So we convert this to 10 and convert this to 10 as well. We could just write that as a single line of padding, but it's better you understand what I'm doing by reading. Okay, so that's that. So there's a bit of space between this and this as well. So we need to achieve that. So we would say, let's give line height first here. Let's say line height, let's say 10 pixel. Let's see whether it goes back up, just because that line height is looking too much with the H1. Okay, let's also do the same thing for the top. Right. Okay, so if he's not responding to that, what we can do is just say margin top. We want to take it back a bit further up. So margin top minus 20 pixel. You can use subtraction. It means that you want to go inwards. So let's see what that does. Is it not moving? Did it? Let me see. Not sure why that's not moving though, but let's put it, let's do bottom, margin bottom. Margin bottom. I'm going to give it this ridiculous value. Oh, sorry, we're applying to the wrong thing. Sorry, we need to apply it to the div. So we're applying to the element. So we need to apply the class here. Yeah, we need to apply that here. So class. So you need to understand the structure of these things, to be honest. Class this equal to navbar. So I'll call that navbar section. So what I now want to do is I want to move that section a bit up so that it gets close, just like this design is. It's as close as it is that way. So I'll come back here and call this class in my style. So if I go into my style and say navbar section, margin top minus 20 pixel. Let's see, that should move in now. Yes, that works. So that's a bit too much. Let's make it 10. And then the bottom, we'll do margin bottom, quite a big value instead. We'll do 20 for bottom, 20 pixel. So once we do that, yeah, does it look like it? Let's make it 25 just so that it's a bit obvious that we are following that. So that's 25. Should we stop here? Should we stop here? Let me see what it looks like here. And then, because that arrow section, we'll need to do a bit of things on it. It's looking like it, to be fair. Right, so before I stop, let's just make this image full width. Right, so this image needs to be full width of our screen, regardless of wherever it falls. So we'll now tell that image. So you come back, now we are done with this class, right? We're done with this class, right? we have to come into the hero section class. So we'll say class hero section, hero section. So for you to achieve that, click on hero section, create the class now. So there's something I said. I said these elements and this, if you check the design, these two elements, they are living on top of this. And for us to achieve that, you have to make the script understand that these two elements, they are independent of each other. Means that they are absolute. You want them to live by themselves. They are not relative to the existing one. So we'll make that class and say class zero section. Yeah, then we'll give the image a class hero image, right? We'll call it hero image. Yes, one thing that we also need to do, we need to put this in a div as well. The two text needs to be in a div so that it splits them out. Slash div, and then give this a class as well. So let's move this a bit forward. So class would be equal to this one. You call this hero content. Yes, you call it hero content. So what happens there means that you want to put this on top of this, and then of course they are both independent of each other. So we'll say hero section display absolute should be position, sorry. Oh no, display absolute. Let's see what that does. Does it stack them on top of each other? Okay, oh, that one has eating this one. Yes, please. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, that's hero section, hero image. I want this hero content to be on top of this hero image. Yeah. So I'll do flex one. Make flex one. Right. So I need to place this. This might take a bit of time than I can afford right now, to be honest. You know what we'll do here? We'll continue from here. Oh, what I said I was going to do was to make this image fit. So let me just, I will stack it later, but let's do that image, hero image, right? Width, we'll say width is 100%. 100% here means that take the full screen, right? So let's see what that does. We can't see it here because this place it looks like it fits the size, but from here we can see. Let's see what it does. Yes, so that's what it's doing now. But this is not the height we want for our screen. So what we'll then say is that the image height of that hero image should be say 300 pixel. Let me see how high that is or how tall that is. It's so small. So let's make it 500 and 540 pixel. Right. So when we make it 540 pixel, you realize that something is happening. The image is looking distorted, right? I don't want it to be this distorted. So let's make it 640. So when the image is distorted, what you then need to do is to say object fill, object fit, say cover. So cover would make the image sit properly within that frame. We'll do this more when we come to responsive design. So it's doing that here. So if you go here as well, the image will now be sitting well if we refresh. Right, can you see? So the image is no longer distorted. Now, next thing we'll do in the next session is we'll move this on top of this and we'll bring these ones into section. So, any questions so far? Any questions? Are we all clear with this? Is it looking like okay? Okay, okay, sure, that's all right. Yeah, so if you follow this, to be honest, you would enjoy. Like I said, don't rush it. If you are going to do it, please follow the process. Structure first before starting to style. Just have this structure. I know I've put in all the class, but if you can do one thing, don't when you are trying to type it in, don't put classes. Like I said, always take screenshot. You can just take screenshot of this, right? Just don't put the classes yet. Just type them like href, all those ones, but don't put all classes. So as you are now coming down, you will now be putting the classes in to see what exactly each of the classes is doing. That way, you'll be familiar with what each and every of these values and the scripting styling, like in CSS, what they are doing and what they mean. Do you get? So we've done the first one. I think we're fine with this one. We still need to do one thing though on over. We call this action over. As I'm touching it, it's supposed to probably be changing color. So we'll do that in the next session as well as other things that we can layer and so on. Of course, this one will be major on that day. We'll put this on top of this as we continue. Sorry, I can't afford that time right now. I would have just closed that all. But this should be it. I will sort that out. Thank you. If there are no questions, we'll proceed to end the class for today. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.